acknowledges that we are located on traditional Blackfoot Confederacy territory. So are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Councillor Selk? All in favor? Thank you. All right, we're going to go straight into our delegation. We've got Chris Olson from the Cardston Gymnastic Club. Chris, we'll have you come on up. We see you've got lots of support, so we love that. Chris and Hope, great.
Oh, I'm just here to push.
You're the tech. I got you. Perfect. So you've got 15 minutes, and whenever is good for you.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and community members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Chris Olson, and I am here on behalf of the Cardston Gymnastics Center. We are here with one important message. Cardston needs a permanent year-round home for gymnastics. This isn't just a request for a space, it is an opportunity for strength for our community, support young families, enhance mental and physical health, and invest in the long-term well-being of Cardston's future generations. I gotta put my glasses on, can't see. Okay, is it too loud? Good, I don't like it anyhow. Who we are, our club's roots reach back to 1978 when a small group of dedicated moms came together with a simple dream to create a gymnastics space for our children of Cardston. We actually have two of the original presidencies, Mary Wood and Priscilla Hatch, and the other was Lorraine Bevins. They rented a tiny storefront on Main Street, painted murals by hand, and collected gently used equipment from local schools that no longer needed it, some of which we still have today. What began as a small, heartfelt effort quickly grew. Before long, the space was overflowing with eager young gymnasts, and we moved into the school facilities to accommodate the demand. But even the combined spaces of the high school and the elementary couldn't contain our growing community for long. Recognizing the need to bring everything under one roof, the club eventually transitioned into our current home in the Civic Center, where we continue to grow. We serve over 250 children and their families while continuing to build a legacy of over 3 decades of movement, confidence, and community. The Cardston Gymnastics Center has become a core piece of recreation in our community and surrounding areas. We are one of the last small town clubs still running within all of Alberta to still have a running competitive club. We serve youth, children, families throughout a wide range of programs, including the Mom and Tot program, helping parents connect with their children through movement, play, and development-focused activities. We have scheduled recreational classes taught by trained certified coaches. We have drop-in sessions that give families affordable flexibility activity options. We have a competitive gymnastics that installs discipline, achievement, long-term athletic development. We have school group programs supporting local teachers and providing curriculum-aligned physical education opportunities. We have special needs offering safe, sensory-friendly, adaptive physical activities. We have parkour programs that are becoming incredibly popular with the youth, especially the boys. We have trampoline and tumbling classes and are helping out athletes build coordination, awareness, and confidence. We are more than just a gymnastic club. We are a community well-being hub for children ages 1 through 18, parents, families, and youth of all backgrounds. A dedicated gymnastic facility is much more than a building. It is an investment in Cardston's growth and families' well-being. We support mental health, emotional well-being. In today's world, families and youth face growing stress. With screen time overload and isolation, gymnastics provides a safe and caring atmosphere where children feel supported, a place for confidence, building, and resilience, a physical outlet proven to support better mental health and low stress and anxiety. Movement supports mental health, and our programs deliver that for hundreds of children. Physical literacy and healthy development is gymnastics is the foundation of all sports and helps develop balance, strength, flexibility, coordination, body awareness, injury prevention skills. Gymnastics is widely recognized as the foundation of all sports because of its physical literacy and healthy development. The benefits this benefits young athletes across hockey, figure skating, soccer, dance, volleyball, basketball, and more, which is why the majority of our athletes end up on the school sports teams, but not everyone gets that opportunity. We want to attract and support young families. Families today look for safe, affordable recreation, year round activities, early childhood development opportunities, a place where their kids feel belonging. A permanent facility strengthens Cardston's appeal to families and supports long term community growth. Inclusions and accessibility. Our special needs programs ensures that every child, regardless of its ability, has access to movement, social connection, development. This is rare in a small community. Is the video's not showing? Okay, well, we had some cute videos. Economic and community growth. A permanent facility allows us to host small competitions and summer camps, provide consistent training programs, brings visitors to Cardston, increases spending in local businesses. We would be able to hire coaches and create jobs, turn our space into Cardston's rec center. Recreation supports economic development in small communities. Our challenge is we need a permanent space. Our club currently operates without a dedicated year-round facility. This creates major challenges that limits our growth and our ability to serve the community. For example, we are not able to help with any of the activities for the town during some of the years, like Festival of Lights or the Heritage Days, as we are shut down during those times. Our rental agreement only gives us 20 weeks of access per year. This severely disrupts our program's availability. Because of this, we can only run from September to November, and then we close down, and then open up January and close down in March. This splits our schedule, creates major challenges, especially for our competitive program. Competitive teams need consistency, year-round training to stay on track. This causes some of our athletes to forget skills, a time to relearn their new skills again each year, sometimes causing major mental blocks for kids. There is no other space in our community that can accommodate us year-round. We also end our season in March. Our provincials and westerns are in April and May. Because we lose access to our facility, sometimes we don't get to go to some of our major competitions. This limits our athletes' growth, experience, and opportunity. Because we rely on temporary spaces, we cannot offer a stable year-round program. Our class sizes are limited. Families are often turned away, and we can't host competitions or events that would bring visitors to Cardston. Our equipment is designed to stay up. However, because we do not have a permanent home, we must constantly set up and take down the equipment, and this causes accelerated wear and tear, loose bolts, fraying straps, weakened springs, safety risks. Our equipment that should last 10 to 12 years is wearing out in 4 to 6 years. This last move, we had parts of our tumble rod floor literally fall to pieces, and luckily someone was there that offered to weld the pieces back together for us that night. The constant moving has reduced our equipment lifespan by nearly 50%, which has created a financial strain and now safety concerns. Every teardown and setup requires at least 30 volunteers. Many of them are often parents and coaches and athletes, often late into the night, which includes heavy lifting, technical assembly, safety checks, and transportation. This is unsustainable. It's hard on our volunteers and reduces our time as coaches so that we can't focus on what we are trained to do, teaching and supporting kids. I was hoping our video showed how many people and how long it took just to take down. Our gymnastic club has no other facility to use during out-of-contract weeks. Without the generosity of Marshall Lines during the winter and without the use of the ice rink in the spring, we have no other options. And Marshall Lines, I think it shows we're in an oil shed. Competitive athletes are currently training in our shop for 2 months just to prepare for the upcoming competition. And all other programs, such as our school program, our mom and tot, parkour, drop-ins, artistic, our adult and special inclusion programs, are put on hold because of disrupting their schedules. This facility would allow us to offer so many more options to the community. Think of us as finding fun activities we could offer the community to gather, a place for kids to play, like a rec center. This is what we can offer with a permanent space, additional equipment, and an expansion of programs. And it offers more opportunities for the community, and it supports mental health, healing through movement, safe and caring, family-focused environment, community building, physical literacy foundation, youth empowerment, sustainability, community growth, inclusion programs for all abilities, healthy lifestyles, recreation as prevention, injury, isolation, mental health strain, and economic diversity through sports. Our request to the town is to work with us to secure a permanent year-round home for the Cardston Gymnastics Center. This could involve a shared municipal facility with a long-term lease, support to acquire or renovate a building, partnership for grants, and a letter for municipal support. We are ready to collaborate. We are not simply requesting a building, we are inviting the town to help create something lasting, something that strengthens families, empowers youth, and contributes to a healthier, stronger Cardston. A permanent facility is an investment in our children, our homes, our economic, and our community's future. On behalf of the Cardston Gymnastics Center, I want to sincerely thank you, Mayor, councilors, and community members for taking the time to hear our presentation tonight. We know your schedules are busy, and we deeply appreciate your willingness to listen, to consider, and to envision what is possible for the future of Cardston. Our club has been a part of this community since 1978 for nearly 5 decades. Families, volunteers, coaches, and kids have poured their hearts into keeping gymnastics alive in Cardston. Tonight, we aren't here just to ask for a building. We are here to show what a permanent year-round home would allow us to give back. We know that providing a recreation in a small town is always a balancing act, but we also know that investing in children, in families, and community connection is one of the strongest returns a town can make. We are committed in doing our part, working alongside with the town, applying for grants, fundraisers, and contributing our time, energy, and expertise. We are asking for a chance to do what we already do and love, but only do better, safer for more people through a permanent facility that allows us to plan long-term and serve year-round. Thank you again for your time, your consideration, and your openness to partnership with us. The Cardston Gymnastics Center is ready to collaborate, ready to contribute, and ready to help build something lasting for this community. We deeply appreciate your support, and we look forward to possibly moving forward together.
Thank you, Chris. First of all, I appreciate your willingness to come to council and pitch this great idea. Having had a daughter in the program a million years ago, it's fantastic. Councillor Court, you had a question.
Thank you. That was excellent, very passionate. Actually, that me turning up a little bit too, so shame on you. Hopefully, you try. Just a couple of things, and it's a fantastic program. My kids, I'm sure, went through it. My grandkids, I know, have been through it. And we certainly don't want to see it go anywhere, but just a couple of questions for maybe administration. And this one right
administration.
here. Our administration.
Oh, sorry. I was like, oh.
Don't put them
No,
on.
no.
Don't put them on the.
Oh, we do have our other president, the one that helped start it in the background.
Who else uses this gymnasium? I know the high school, junior high do their, don't they? Don't they come in here and do their, yeah, they're here right now. Anybody else?
Theater groups, they're over this month early.
On our discussion.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's a number of different people
Yep.
using it. And I talked to you about this earlier, and I had read through it. I've just been trying to rack my brain if there's some other facility we could
We have,
into a full-time one.
we have looked, that's why we're in an oil shed.
Yeah.
That's the only one that has something high enough for our trampoline and long enough.
Councillor.
Well, I appreciate everything you guys do. It's the only way you can keep a small town running is through volunteers like you.
Yeah,
Councillor Johnson, go ahead.
for sure. Echo the words of Councillor Court, but a couple of questions. The 250 kids that you have, is that a continuous enrollment that you have about that number?
I believe it's around 250 every year. That's without, that's with, but that's without the school program coming in. So,
So there's extra for
yeah,
from
the schools send down their kids. We've got the elementary and junior high that bus kids down during the day. So those aren't actual members of the club, but they are brought down.
And you do have playtime, right?
Pardon?
You have playtime for your kids to
Yeah.
just drop in?
Yes.
And do you have other members coming from other communities?
We do. We have one. We have two from Raymond. When I was here like 10 years ago, other community, we have Hillspring, Glenwood, Welling. Oh yes, yeah, we've got them from Spring Coulee, McGrath. Yeah, we do. We are the only one. The only next closest one is Lethbridge, and then the city of Calgary. There's none in Pincher Creek.
One final question is, I know you use the gymnasium here. How many square feet do you need to run a program?
I don't know that number. I know we actually need bigger than this to actually run a proper, like the ceiling is low, but we make it work, and the tumble track, we're only got maybe a half to a third of what we actually need for length. But we make do. We're happy to have what we've got.
Councillor Smith.
I've had a bit of experience with the Calgary Gymnastics Club, having grandkids in there. It's a huge facility, very high ceiling. I can't believe that you've run the program that you have for this many years with the facilities that you're trying right now. My grandson went through that, and I didn't catch whether you said that skiing was part of the benefits of
All
because he is a freestyle skier.
yes,
He's on
we
the-
actually went. Oh, sorry.
sorry, he went on the provincial team. He's been all over Europe and New Zealand, and now he's a coach. And it all started with his gymnastics.
I was gonna say we actually did have a freestyle skier come in and use the tramp for
Ah.
their tricks.
Well, I applaud you for your efforts and everything.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting for you to bring this forward because we're used to people coming to council and asking for money, but you're not asking for money. You're asking to be able to run a year-round program in our building. So thank you for that. Council, anybody else have any questions? No? So how it works is we don't talk about it as a council at this meeting. At our next meeting, which is next Tuesday, we will discuss it and make a decision typically, and then administration will get a hold of you. But thank you so much. I will also add that I'm seeing a lot of, we're talking about the assets of it, and looking behind Chris, we've got a whole group of young women that have now moved back to our community that are now coaches and moms, and they work in, nurses and yeah, you're everywhere, and they're making a difference. So it's not just we're making athletes, we're making phenomenal women that are giving back to our community, and men. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming. All right. Yes, we've got Counselor Kenley online. Welcome, Counselor. We're going to go straight into, let's see, we're a little bit early for the Friends of the Remington Center. Yes, I had let council know. Yeah. So let's just keep going until 5:30 when the Remington comes. So can I have adoption of the minutes for the November 25th, Counselor Court?
I'll make that motion to adopt minutes of the council meeting from November 25th, 2025.
All in favor? Counselor Kenley, do you have your hand up with a question? Can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Counselor? Okay. Sing a song and see if I can hear you. Oh, dang
You sound great.
it.
My Wi-Fi just dropped as well. I don't know if anybody else's did, but having to log back in. I'm good.
You sure you're just not on mute or something, Counselor? Okay, no, you're not.
American Sign Language.
Speaking now.
Just go.
Do you want me to call him?
Well, he'll just have to listen, I guess.
Counselor, you can hear us though, correct? Okay, so if you have something to say, you're just gonna call me on my phone, okay? Let's go with that. Okay, we're gonna continue. Next up, budget. Go ahead. Yep, that sounds good.
Okay, Council. You've got all your documents in front of you again. This will probably, I think, obviously spill over into after the next delegation as well. We're getting closer. The budget you have in front of you is got about a $717,000 deficit in it. Don't panic about that. I'll talk about why we're at that point. I'm having a meeting tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, with all the management team to prioritize capital. So we're going to start going through and looking at that. The other thing we have a lot of is, what will I call it, is tax-funded capital. And we're going to look at some of those too, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to capital in just a minute. I wanted to just mention a couple of things. So this is still just based on 2% tax revenue increase. And so keep in mind that doesn't mean a 2% tax rate increase. Once we get to the end of the year and see what our new assessment is in the community, then we'll see how that balance happens, but we don't know that until next year. So we'll have that presented to you in the new year. This current budget is putting just under, like a couple $1,000s, just under $1 million to reserves. So through taxation or utility rates, we're putting $1 million in savings. But the other side of that coin is it is also using 4.7 million. Now, there's two major big ticket items in there. 3 million of that is a sewer plant. So that's exactly what it's been saved for. It's totally appropriate that we use it for that.
Quick question on the sewer plant.
Go ahead.
So it's not totally covered. We're gonna have to come up with 3 million. Is that the idea?
So depending on where the tenders land. So if we keep messing around at 20 million, then we've got, we would have 15. We'd have 15 in grant of the 20. We have 3 in reserves, and we'd probably have to borrow about 2.
Okay.
Yep. So,
That's better than the 8 or 9 we were talking about.
well, and again, the proof is in the pudding when the tenders come in, right? And so there's still large contingencies in the numbers that they're presenting. I met with Associated today on what we called a value engineering meeting. So they had about 6 things that they could look at removing or doing differently or removing some redundancies to bring the price down. We had about $6 million in there that we were looking at, but I've got to meet with our operators to make sure that those aren't like going to cause major problems if we remove some of those things. One of the challenges with these projects is, and I forget the terminology that Andy used, he's the regional manager for water wastewater for Associated. Essentially, environment is looking for redundancy in treatment, and that makes sense in case you have something go down. You need to make sure that you can still treat appropriately until that thing's back up. So that's fine, but there are certain components where if they go down, and there's certain expensive components that if they happen to go down, the end product really isn't that compromised. You know, you might have to backwash a little sooner, you might have to do a couple of other things, but you're not going to be putting improper effluent out into the system. And so part of that value engineering was looking to see what could we scale back on, even if we said, look, for this project, we're going to take it out, but within the next 10 years, we will work to put that component back in, you know, something like that. So we're at a value engineering stage, trying to get the price down south of 20 million again.
Okay, go
Just
ahead.
one other thing. I assume as council, we'll probably use some kind of a rider to make the difference up.
So we'll have to look at how we want to fund that. You're right. So if it's, let's say there's 2 million, 2.5 million in borrowing, and we'll have to determine how we're going to fund it, and whether that's some type of rider on wastewater, we'll see. We'll just have to see how we can absorb it in the operation otherwise. Now, the other part of that, Counselor, and it might be significant, is we expect the operational costs of the new plant to be significantly less than the current plant by about 50%. And so that may cover, I don't think it's going to cover the payments on a $2 to $3 million mortgage, but I'll bet it is a big chunk. You know, we're kind of optimistic that plant is our biggest utility consumer by a long shot. Second place is way behind it. Probably the ice rink would come next, but we have about $300,000 a year in utility costs just for that building: heat, water, gas, that kind of thing, electricity. Well, electricity is the biggest one. So the theory there is what if we freed up $125,000 in those costs? That should absorb some of the mortgage payment as well.
Counselor Winder.
And when do we anticipate to have the numbers set in stone?
Yeah, so value engineering right now to try and get it down, and then it'll go to tender. So I would hope by March, you know, we've gone to tender. Again, I've got a project here with millions of dollars in contingencies, and the only way we work that out is to get it to tender,
right,
and get quotes. And if those contingencies are high, that's good news.
Right.
You know, we shave a couple $1 million in contingencies off. So I'm hoping by spring, as soon as we get through this value engineering, we do already have on the main components, the media components, we actually already have our pricing on that. We've started to pre-procure some of the items because the lead time is so long. So they're telling us this will be a year, this will be 18 months. And so we're starting to already issue purchase orders on some of those long lead time components. And then what happens is the contractor simply has to carry that piece of equipment. We don't give them the option to source it elsewhere. They must take our source because we've procured it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna pause. It's
Oh,
5:30.
and Mr. Brent's here.
Yes. So we'll pause, and then we'll have you come on up. Welcome. Just right there. Thank you.
This discussion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Please.
Will do.
Please.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mayor and council, it's good to be with you, and I appreciate the responsibility that you have. For those of you who are brand new, I know what brand new means. But while you look at there and don't get too concerned with all that, do find that magazine because we're going to refer to that. But I got a question for you. How many of you have actually been to the Remington Center and gone through with an interpreter and learned all about it? Show of hands. Okay. How many of you have been to Remington Days with the mini chuck wagons and got involved there? Okay, that tells me where I need to start. If you'll turn to in the Remington Days magazine, and by the way, we feel as a board that we're a very progressive board. We're always looking for good things to happen, to make good things happen, and so on. On that very first page, under Remington Days 2024, and by the way, you'll notice on your booklets on the front, the date is changed to, what is it? August, what?
First and second.
1st and 2nd of 2025. It didn't happen, did it? But that's how much we plan ahead. We had the date all set, we were set to go, and then we had to learn to, duck with the punches and so on. On that first page, inside page, down toward the bottom, it says mission statement. Have you found that?
Yeah.
Just to help you understand what this is. Oh, by the way, I am Brent Devins. Did I hear that happen?
Yes.
Brent Devins, sorry. And it's been my privilege to be involved with the Remington Center and especially the mini chuck wagons for the last 20 plus odd years. From the day the inception of the whole thing happened, I was there at the meeting. It was Greg Burt representing the town at that time, and I've been with him ever since, and it's been a fantastic journey. Anyway, what I want to touch base on is that mission statement. The Friends Society is dedicated to promoting the Remington Carriage Museum. End of discussion. Our vision statement states, the Friends Society is dedicated to Don Remington's vision and passion for restoring horse-drawn vehicles. In conjunction with the world-class facility of the Remington Carriage Museum, we commit to providing events that promote this history and strengthen community and economic growth. That's the end of our vision statement right there. When I got started with the group as a board member, we didn't have a vision. We didn't have a mission statement. We didn't know what direction the prior group had been going. As of 2017, that was the last date that there was any mini chuck wagon racing going on. They shied away from it. Then we went into that wonderful time period called COVID. And once that happened, I got mad just a little and decided I've got to get involved if things are going to happen. And we got a great board and we caught the vision of bringing home the mini chucks. And one of the foundations that we worked on was we knew that the racers that we were dealing with or the wagon masters that we were dealing with at that time would not be there forever. However, we wanted to make the best possible use of those good people that we possibly could. The Remington had spent lots of money providing the field out there for the wagons, the sounds, the sound booth. We also put the display in the Remington Center showing what miniature chuck wagon is all about. And the association adopted Cardston as their home base. So we had a little bit of responsibility towards them. So we took off with the idea of bringing them home again. And I found myself on the board, and we decided to reach out to other people and find possible sponsorships. I got to tell you, I woke up 2 o'clock Tuesday morning in the middle of the night thinking, if we never ask Randy Remington for help, we'll never know. I sat down and wrote him a letter. Tuesday night, I presented it to the board. The board said, go ahead. Wednesday, we sent the letter to Mr. Remington. Friday, we had a big commitment from him, and he's been with us for the last 3 years. That says something about, anyway. Then we went out to the town, and we went and knocked on doors, and absolutely we got fantastic responses. And to make a long story short, this particular year, 2024, we entitled it the Year or Attitude of Gratitude. And the Friends went ahead and did all the sponsorship for the entire program that year and simply sent thanks out to everybody that was involved. And you'll see everybody that's been involved since day one. Not only the wagon masters, the sponsors, displays that we had and so on, they're all incorporated in this particular magazine. So then we went ahead and we set our date for 2025, and then the word came through that some of the wagon masters had retired, some were forced out, and it boiled right down to we could not get the sponsor or the wagons back for 2025. So in the meantime, we had been talking about a new program, and we call it the Next Generation of Wagon Masters. And we started plugging that in this year. And we've had 3 sessions with our wagon masters, and they come out of Vulcan, and they come and they teach. And we've combined with the Cardston Agricultural Society. We work out of their premise up there, and we're making it a real joint effort, and great things are happening. You'll notice in your little packet, you've got an, monthly newsletter. Mm-hmm. And it's the November one, and the reason I left it there rather than bringing the December one is that there's a big write-up and pictures of what's happening in the next generation of wagon masters. We've got 15 participants right now, ranging from high school age right up to grandpa age. So there is an interest, there is an interest, but it does cost money. And we as a board said that we're moving ahead with this program regardless. And our hopes is that for the year 2026, we will have some local people behind the reins, on the reins, to show Cardston what miniature chuck wagon is all about. And we got some great possibilities happening and coming. What we are thinking, and we've got an invitation to the North Country right now to bring their wagons down to give us the main program of the day. But we're hoping that the halftime entertainment will be our miniature chuck wagon next generation. So that's what we're focusing on. That's where our efforts are. And I want to give you some time for questions. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on too. the Friends of the Remington really are the deep pockets of the Remington Center itself. Don't ask me how it all works. You will know how government works a whole lot better than I do. But the government pays the Friends pay the support staff down there at the Remington. So that's part of our responsibility there. Our good man, Mr. Mark Hennessy, is our board coordinator. And we have installed him within this last year, and he's down there at the center 5 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a day, but his telephone is hot, ready any time of the day or night that we or you or anybody else needs to contact the Friends regarding the Remington. And we appreciate so much his work. Also, this year, if you were part of the Festival of Lights, the Remington Center, did you notice the beautiful gym lights on the center this year? Mm-hmm. You're welcome. No, we worked with, and again, government, you'll know better than I do, the hoops you have to jump through to get their support, cooperation, all the rest of it. Finally, the director down there at the Remington said, let's just do it and have it in place. We said by Christmas, but he said, let's get it there for the Festival of Lights. And this is just the first stage of it. We will be putting lights on the entire frontage of that facility over the next 2 years. So, and again, we're excited about things and possibilities that can happen. I also got a call from our board coordinator that monies from you good folks arrived in the account just 2 days ago. Yes.
Check the mail.
You think? We should let him out of the office a little more? Okay. But we do send a big thank you to you. I just believe and strongly believe that we need each other. Cardston, what is there in Cardston? Number one thing is, forgive me for saying so, no, don't forgive me, the temple, number one. What's next? Well, the Remington Center, and it's here, we've got it. If we can support it, sustain it, promote it, I'd love to see a sign out here, welcome to Cardston, the home of the Remington Carriage Museum. It's nationally known. Also, I'll tell you this, as far as Remington Days go, that was a concept that we initiated for 2022 when we first came on board. We said we've had enough of the term mini chuck wagon championship. We've heard rumors, they're not championships, they're not really races. No, they're not. It's entertainment. It's absolutely entertainment. And so we adopted the Remington Day celebration, and it's going great. Other than that, I would field any questions that you might have. Again, I can't thank you enough for your support, and it's been great over the years. The county's on board. We haven't asked anybody that hasn't got on board. Oh, and I gotta say, last year, one business in Cardston came and found us, and that was Value Drug, and it was big time. We appreciate so much, everybody, the excitement that this whole concept can create, and we're here to do it.
Well, thank you. I would definitely say, Mr. Bevins, that you are one of the great voices of Cardston. Anyone just listening to your voice takes us back to many a rodeo, many a Cardston days, many a Remington days. Anyway, so thank you for all of your, thank you for all you've done for Cardston over the years.
Welcome.
All right, enough schmoozing. So the question is, you're asking for $5,000 is my understanding. And it's my understanding, like you've stated, that it is to go towards the mini chucks at whether it's training, whether it's facilitating, whatever that needs to go toward. Is that correct?
That is true, a portion of it, and anything that we, you, us, can come up with to promote Remington Carriage Museum.
So
Absolutely.
my next question is, because we like to do this, is are you also hitting up the county with this same pitch?
Oh, yes,
Perfect.
yes,
I want to hear that.
absolutely.
Okay, so I will, counselors, is there any questions? Counselor Court,
I
go
just
ahead.
need a refreshment. How much should we give last year?
5,
Same amount then?
yes.
So it's just essentially asking for the same amount. Yep. Any other questions? Looks like you've answered everybody's questions. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. So how it works? Did you have something else to say?
I was just going to say about the little packet I sent you.
Yes.
You also have in there a form, get involved. Buy a membership, get involved, and we'd love to have you on board that way. Also, we have put there the new brochure that we just put together this last month that was handed out at the, what was this event here at the center?
Festival of Life?
Awareness.
Oh, community awareness.
Community awareness.
That's right.
Mark was there with those pamphlets and again, anything we can do to promote the Remington Carriage Museum.
Thank you. So how it works is we won't talk about this today. We will push this to our next meeting, which is next Tuesday. And so after we discuss it, administration will reach out to you with our answer.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I appreciate
safe.
being here. And again, thank you for everything.
Christmas. All right, council, let's go back to the excitement of budget. Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't like the cynicism around that.
So much fun. I do have a question.
Yeah, of course.
So I was just looking over it. So on this hot little number,
Yeah, the
on
capital
capital.
budget, yes.
so it's 272027 disc
Mhm.
golf,
Mhm.
2026 $9,000.
Hmm.
So is that
Just some continued infrastructure that's needed to really finish out that course.
okay? So we didn't have enough money that was previously put into it, so it's just rolling more money into it.
What's rolling forward? Oh, so sorry, thank you.
Okay,
I'll be
that's
corrected.
important to me.
It's rolling
Okay.
forward from
Thank you.
unspent from 2025.
Okay, that answers
Are
that.
we seeing,
Go ahead.
are we seeing an increased use up down there of the actual?
Yeah, so I haven't been tracking it, but it also wasn't totally ready very well in the summer. It kind of, we worked on it over the summer, so we haven't had a full season.
Expect better next year?
Yeah, we got permanent signage in now. I saw that. We just had some laminated stuff before.
Yeah.
So I saw the permanent signage landed and, a few things like that are still trickling in, Counselor, for sure.
Thank you. That was my question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
These are always tricky to work through. Again, I'm meeting with all my management team tomorrow. We're prioritizing capital. That's where you will be in this room and the different departments get to argue why their stuff is more important than the other departments. And so it's always a compelling meeting and we'll work through that. But we are short about $720,000 in this budget to balance. And I'm not terribly, that isn't a super scary number just yet. We have some work to do. We are tax funding about $300,000 worth of capital. Where we can shift that to grants, we sure prefer that. And so when we work through capital tomorrow, we should be able to come up with probably half of the deficit through that little exercise tomorrow. We've had a couple of things where our revenues have some of our revenues have gone down, like our solar field. We did an analysis. We had NMAX send us some data on that over the last couple of years, and we had quite a surplus on that 2 years ago, if some of you might remember. Average pool price then was 11.5 cents. This last year it was 4. And so that impacts us quite dramatically. So you'll see as you go through this, we've brought some revenue projections down to be a little bit more realistic with it. It's very easy for us to overstate revenues to balance the budget, but we're just fooling ourselves, right? It doesn't do us any good at the end of the day. So I'm always cautious not to, where we know there's a better number, I'm always cautious not to overstate revenues. There's just a couple of things I would like to go through in your 11x17 with the green band on it. That's the thickest one at this point. That's the tax and the utility budgets are stapled together there. Anything in green is things we've changed since last week. So it gets a little daunting in capital. We won't get into that too much. And some of the stuff is really minor. So like on page 1, there was some tiny changes, like dollars of changes to FCSS grant and just really, really minor stuff. On page 2, we just have a couple of things on 3/4 of the way down. The first green line, you'll see like solar revenues is down significantly. That historically in the projections for pool pricing just show that it needs to be down. That our previous 240, 250, 270 has been, it would be artificially high for this upcoming year. So that's just something we'll have to deal with. There's some very minor things. On page 3, I just wanted to point out the first green line on page 3, we have formally received the Chinook Foundation requisition. For you new counselors especially, the Chinook Foundation, which I believe Councillor Selk is on. There's probably one more with you. Is it Councillor Kenley? Yeah. Councillor Kenley, Councillor Selk. So it's a requisitioning body. They submit their bills, and as much as you may or may not like them, you don't have discretion over them. So you accept them as they're presented to you. Now, you can always ask your counselors on those respective boards to please go back and have a sober second thought. And if they choose to do that, we take that number. They have requisitioning authority, and they can impose their costs upon the town. I will very comfortably say that our Chinook Foundation has always been incredibly frugal and conservative in their requisitions. It's never been a concern. I've never seen it in my time anyway. So we start to get those numbers in. Chinook's is in. It's up about $4,000. There's some small changes to legal, a few little tweaks for some employment things we're working on. I don't want to get too much into the minutia of we're changing out like the software for the peace officer and like little stuff like that. I mean, it matters in its aggregate, but it's pretty small. Just so you know, when you have a peace officer, you have to have working alone software. He checks in with a call center every day. So he clocks in with them, he clocks out with them. If they don't hear from him, they call me because he works alone. So there's different, they radio him, and every hour he radios back. And there's just different services we have to belong to for things like that. I actually didn't have too much. And again, as always, any questions, please hit me up. We've talked about a lot of this stuff.
So question.
Yeah.
On page 6.
Yep.
Your first green stripe there.
Will Adam Mountain 2030? Yeah, so thank you for pointing that one out. So we transfer a little bit of money every year to reserves for crushing cement and asphalt. And we let it pool up. We literally let it accumulate like in the yard. And then when it hits a certain amount, we bring all that from reserves and we bring someone in to do it. We did a tremendous amount last year, and we have inventory for quite a while. We don't anticipate needing to do it again until up to maybe 2030. So that's why we pulled that out. We used to do, Councillor Court and maybe Councillor Selk might remember this. We used to do like 20,000 a year of crushing, and we bring the guy in and he'd do 20,000 worth. But the economy of scale for that, if we can bring him in and do 100 grand every 3 years or 4 years, we were getting so much more aggregate per yard, for what we're paying. So based on our inventories right now, we're not expecting that to happen again for a while.
Okay.
All of page 7 is pretty minor. There's nothing there that's too scary change. Same with page 8. I did want to talk about page 9. This is Councillor Court's committee. So top of page 9, it's the updated requisition for the library board. So you have a letter from them in your agenda where they presented that. So that number that they've presented is here represented in the budget.
And it's actually down.
I
from
know.
Yeah,
last
they
year.
brought
We'll
it
talk
down,
about that.
and they brought it down the year before as well.
Yeah.
So
Proud of that.
So they're doing, they're trying to tighten that up. Just for council's information, we have what's called an ACP, an Alberta Community Partnership Grant, that's been submitted with the library and the town as partners to bring in a third-party consultant just to look at the overall operations of the library and if there's any places where there might be opportunities to generate further revenue or to reduce costs and have a third party look at that. We won't know that grant for probably another month or so. I will know if we're successful in that. Again, we're just talking operational for right now. Little important things on page 10, like the shredder died. Again, not massively expensive, but in aggregate.
And are we blaming Joshua for that? Is that why he's attached
Actually, I
to
think
that?
we're blaming Ryan,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Just checking where the blame
Yeah,
lies.
I think we decided that Ryan Knoll is to blame for that. So, sorry, that mic is really loud. A couple of things on page 11. And this is some of those places where if I, next week, if I come back to council and say, look, council, we got to find a couple $100,000 somewhere. We've got to come up with that. These amounts we're sending to reserves, I think it's a good thing. I think it's wise. I think it's an important course to stay. However, if we got to find 10,000 here and 10,000 there, we have full discretion over how much goes into savings. So if it can't be 281,000 in 2026, but it can be 261,000, well, that's probably okay. So those are the kind of things I'll bring back to you when we've got it down to not 776,000. We'll have it a little lower and get that for you. Some of those things will tidy up in the grants general. Again, remember on that grants general line, we brought in everything. Those things were scattered amongst a number of accounts, and the previous council wanted all those brought into one account so they could be looked at. That's why you see move from this, move from this, move from this, move from this. We've just got them all lumped under the grants general. I know we had some discussion on some of those that aren't represented in this yet. We'll have some more discussion tonight in closed session on some of that. So for you two that were gone last meeting, we did talk about some of these. We'll tidy that up tonight. And then we'll adjust that before you see it again next week. And then we get into amortization and all the capital transfer to reserves. That just gets a bit messy. I don't want to necessarily mess around with that tonight because we'll talk about the capital sheet on its own. If you would go to page 18, which is the utilities, I would like to talk about a few items there. And we've talked about some of this last week too, so I'll try not to be too redundant. Page 18, the first couple of lines, again, we're taking some guesses. We don't know perfectly what the impact on Moses Lake not being on our water will be, and we don't know, because we haven't negotiated the contract yet, what the revenue from wastewater will be. So we kind of have some placeholder numbers in there right now until we see how that all falls out. But we expect that the loss in the water, we hope, is essentially recovered by the wastewater treatment. So again, on this one, under water distribution, there's a number of a little bit smaller things. There's one thing I wanted to run by you. It's the next line down. It's the aquifer study. So last year, you returning counselors will remember, we wanted to do some testing to see if there was a significant water source sitting underneath us that we could draw from instead of just the rivers. So particularly around our Lee Creek intake. Lee Creek's flows, especially in the summer and fall, are getting so negligible. It's really not something we can even draw water from. We would pump it dry just by turning the plant on in the summer or fall. And the discussion was, is there a big aquifer under the community that we could tap into? That comes with a number of challenges. Your chemistry changes dramatically on how you treat aquifer water depending on what's in it versus surface water. But we would work through that if it looked like it was a significant source. What we found, they drilled some test holes in different areas around and they found water, but not on the level we would need it as a municipality. For your or my home, probably fine. but not the massive aquifer that was predicted. That's not a, what would you call it? That's not an exact science, that finding water business, right? There's quite an art to that too. Yeah, I guess a little bit of a water witching and that kind of thing. I don't think they did that, but so the question on that was that the driller, we use Camfield, their assertion was that they actually think in the last place they drilled it, they're on the edge of a fairly significant aquifer. But we would need to go outside of the town limits and outside of any town-owned land to pursue it. And we had spent the money and we weren't gonna go through all that at the time. And the question is, do we want to continue to try and pursue that? It may be a fool's errand. We may drill another couple wells and have 5 gallons a minute. I don't know.
I personally think it's incredibly important for us to have another. I see Councillor Kenley giving the thumbs up as well. I think it is important. Water is always short, and I think having another area in which to draw from is only a plus, personally. But yeah, Councillor Selk.
So can these guys directional drill like they do in the oil field and just go down on our side and pick it out?
I
from
never
wherever it
thought
is?
about that, right?
Really.
Under the
Start
fence.
in the town limits and head over, eh?
Straight over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Go tap the water from wherever it is and
yeah.
start on our side of the line.
Steal it from the Montana.
So actually, that's a good question. So when it's on somebody else's property, do we then pay Joe Blow
So
so
we
that
would-
we can drill and look for water? Like,
So
how does
if
that
we
work?
had infrastructure there, we would require some type of easement
Yeah.
to access it. The compensation's case by case.
Okay.
So for example, we have our St. Mary's intake that runs over the East Cardston colony. It runs over a number of landowners.
Yeah.
And we do have different compensation
Okay.
agreements with each of those landowners. So some of them it's to be able to use the raw water in exchange. Some of it's cash, there's payments. So that would have to be determined, Mayor, depending on where that landed. But they feel that where we last drilled, if they could just get a little bit more south and east, that there may be something of more significance. We've always heard, everyone who's been here, that there's all this water under the town, that we got this high water table, but this is water that's 140, 150 feet down. This is bedrock water, it's not the stuff getting in your basement. That's a very different animal. So I just, I do welcome the feedback on that. It's one of those, maybe if we have to find 35,000 to balance, we'll talk about it. I'll keep it in for now and see where we land, but I would welcome any feedback on those types of items. And then you'll see just a few other little things in water, nothing too major there. It's all pretty small dollars, relatively speaking. There's nothing of consequence. I had one more on this. Let me just see where I was at here. No, and then we get into capital. So again, pretty minor on that. So I don't expect anything too major on the utility side. Our rates are still not covering 100% of the operations of those facilities, but it's mostly in what we're transferring to reserves. So the cost to operate are being covered, but ideally to cover all of our depreciation in that department, we're not covering all that. There's a word I want to hear, there's a term I want to hear. That may be more than we could ever do. It's probably very wishful thinking. But we continue to try and fund. We've got $3 million for a new sewer plant, for example, coming out of those reserves. So it's not to say we aren't putting reserves away. It's just to say in a perfect world there'd be about another $600,000 we could put away, but we're not there. And I don't recommend we look at capturing all that in the rate at all. I think it would be too onerous on the ratepayer. Our sewer rates are already above average in the higher percentile, because we have a mechanical treatment plant. I don't want to push that much harder. So I think we don't want to look, my opinion is I don't want to see a dramatic hit to rates anytime really soon.
Okay.
And then the last operational piece is the electrical. It's the blue bar on the left. It's just it's a single page that isn't attached. We've been doing some looking at our historical revenues our domestic electrical transmission charges have been going down. We brought that number down quite a bit. But to offset that, not to worry too much, is also our distribution access tariff has been coming down. So we have a corresponding expense that's coming down with it. That can be a number of things. It can be rate based, it can be consumption based, it can be peak demand based. There's a lot of things that play into that. So you will see that our first domestic electrical transmission is down significantly. And then we also have brought down in the expenses, our tariff is down about $150,000 as well. So, you know, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of moving parts in the electrical system. We have to take transmission charges from AltaLink and then distribution charges from Fortis. And then we charge those back out. We are doing, and I've been a little frustrated, we just signed a contract with Equus to do our consulting. They're doing a full rate analysis. I don't have it yet. They got caught up in some other things. So I'm hoping to have that any day. And I could tell you if we do see some major gaps in the rate, I don't think we have them. For you new counselors, we have tried to have kind of rate parity with Fortis. So looking, because they're all around us, so they service everyone just outside the limits. We've really analyzed their rates and tried to structure them to have close to rate parity. And I have Equus doing an analysis of that for this year. One of the challenges with Fortis is they apply for changes quarterly. And so they are constantly reevaluating their rates and changing the rates. And we've generally taken the approach of trying to predict it annually so that we're not having to do analysis as often as they do it. But sometimes that bites us, and sometimes it's okay.
Councillor Court.
Is there still any noise out there of potential purchasers, people looking to buy our system?
I could have it sold by 10 tomorrow morning if you want it. Yeah, that's not a challenge.
It's not that I want it.
No. Yeah, I know. I hear you.
But there's not any serious offer out
there's
there.
nobody banging the door down right now.
Yeah.
No, but the last council, we did that analysis with KPMG, and council made the decision not to pursue that sale.
Yeah.
And that's quieted down. I mean, really, it's Fortis. It's quieted them down.
Councillor Salk.
So help me out, Jeff.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, we were looking at additional forms of electrical generation, like natural gas.
Sure.
I believe at the time ATCO was almost offering the same deal that NMAX gives us with our solar, that they would create a natural gas electrical generation plant, and we would pay them like we do the solar farm.
Right.
And of course, I think the province said, yeah, no.
Yeah, so that was part of, you are taking me back, Counselor. No, we had a great name for it, and I'm just trying to think of what it was. We had a plan where we were looking to basically offset everything we had to bring in with stable generated electricity. And we could not get an audience with Alberta Energy. Well, I shouldn't say that. We did get an audience a couple times, and then we would never get a call back. It was a hard no. And part of the reason why the shift to the solar farm that the town owns and the privately owned one was that it hypothetically allows us to start to accomplish the same thing within the rules that the province had laid out, where they wouldn't let us do what we were trying to do before on our own. We were trying to mimic on a smaller scale Medicine Hat,
Right.
to be honest.
Right.
We were simply asking for the same legislative environment as Medicine Hat.
Right. And if I recall, Jeff, the answer from the province was, well, if we do it for you, we have to do it for everybody else. And I was like, okay, well, give that to Ponoka too, because they're the only other community that's like us. Yeah, no, we were saying, fine, that doesn't offend us at all. Yeah. And in fact, just to swap stories, we were sitting downtown, we were at the McDougall building, I believe it was called, when we were meeting with them, and I was with Kevin Phillips at the time. And we had the gentleman from the ADM or whoever it was saying, well, look, if we allow you to do that, it interrupts the balancing pool and the whole system balancing. And Kevin was very sharp. He said, the building across the street consumes more electricity per capita than the town of Cardston, and they're free to change retailers and to change how they procure energy anytime they want. So he says, we just don't buy that argument. Because it was actually our small size that actually made it even the ability to discuss it, because we wouldn't have this massive impact on the system, right?
I still don't necessarily buy that argument strongly. I think it's a weak argument that we would interrupt the balancing pool in the system. We're just too small.
So is it worth pursuing another audience with, what is it, Alberta Energy?
Yeah, I don't know what they're called now. They changed those departments a lot, but yes, it was energy at the time. Exactly. And even Joe was, I should say Minister Scal was our MLA at the time, and he sat in on a couple of those meetings with us, but we were unable to really get a lot of traction with it. Is it something I'd like to pursue again? If the legislative environment was right, absolutely, yeah. I think there's some merit to it. Now I'll talk to you, trying to think, Thursday. We probably won't have time next meeting, but in the very near future, I'll talk to you. I'm having a meeting on Thursday about some things kind of coming up in that space with our partners at Clean Communities. They might have some applications coming to council for some things that they want to do. I've been meeting with Natural Resources Canada with them on some potential investments on this type of thing. So there is some cool stuff coming down the pipe on that, I think. Yeah, okay, but yes, I've always been interested in that. I think that's the one reason to hold on to the system, is to explore that kind of stuff.
So we could be energy independent and not have to buy any, like, correct me again, Jeff, don't we spend $1 million plus just buying electricity from Fortis when if we could generate it ourselves?
So then on this, I'll show you on this 292,200, that's our distribution access tariff. That's what we pay to bring power into the town. So it's not for the power necessarily. It's what we just pay to distribute the power that comes into town. And so as we need less and less, if we can generate within our system, you can start to put quite a business case together, just having that number go down, not to mention potential revenue from the sale of generation, right? So yeah, that's our number, 1.1 million. Okay. Is what we're budgeting to pay Fortis next year just to bring that power to town. Gosh. Yeah, it's significant for sure.
And frustrating.
Yeah, it's also that.
Okay.
The electrical environment is such a regulatory nightmare for small operators that it's frustrating on that level too. But yeah, I would be more than happy to go down this road of how we can continue to develop that. You bet. Okay. That's always been very exciting to me.
Okay. Anything else?
Other than that, we had a few small capital. One of the things, and I wasn't going to get too much into capital, but just so you know, we're looking at upgrading more of the sites at the campground to 50 amp. So a lot of them are the old 30 amp, and with these big rigs nowadays, they pull in there with 2 air conditioners and fridges and stoves and everything running on electrical, and the TVs going, the Starlinks outside, and we just
bring in your house.
Yeah, we're just popping breakers all the time.
That 50 amp on mine.
Yeah,
only has 1 air conditioner.
So we've got 9 sites budgeted for next year as a small electrical capital upgrade. So, I know we didn't talk about 500 lines. I get that. But I just want to talk about some of those components, and then the goal right now is to get this down to balanced. You can't pass a deficit. You're the one level of government that can't just perpetually run into the red, and I think that's a good thing, by the way. In many ways, I wish our other levels of government had some of the same constraints, and that would be a great thing. On capital, it's much like what you saw last week. There's a ton of lines. It's spending all of our LGFF, which is in 2026, 979,000. It's spending our Canada Building Fund, which is what it's for. That's what it should do. I'm not suggesting any of this is untoward. And it's spending, like I said, 4.7 million in reserves. But 3.5 million of that is sewer plant and golf course, clubhouse. So we're spending a normal amount out of reserves, about 1.2 million, putting $1 million back in. I'd like to see that going the other way a bit, but we're going to work on that. Meeting with Jill today, one of the things we may be bringing you next week is, I'll give you an example. There's a project in there for 400,000 for water meter replacements. We're at a point where we need to start getting, some of you may remember when water meters went in across the whole town in one fell swoop. And we replace probably a couple dozen every year, but it's time we have to get pretty aggressive about about replacing a lot of them. We're losing a lot of revenue due to old mechanical style meters, and the information, the data, the reading has just evolved so much over the last 20 years. So it's time for us to start doing that. So we have $400,000 in here as a kind of a start to buy a few hundred at a time. But that might be a project that we would look at the Alberta Water Wastewater Program to fund 50%, and we would only do it this year if we get grant funding. So we may be bringing you like a number of contingent projects where they're not critical, like nothing's broken, and we're gonna go searching for funding, and if we get it, we'll spend it. But if we don't, we won't do any of the project. And that helps us free up some cash. Because, you know, all of a sudden we have 200,000 coming from water wastewater grant and not tax funding, for example. So that closes the gap on the deficit quite quickly. So I would ask again for you guys, I know this is a lot of lines, but please go through this, and if there's questions or things you're not sure why they're in there, things that you think are missing, I mean, this gets a lot of eyes on it. This capital list will get prioritized heavily tomorrow. I mean, it will be balanced. We'll have this cut down quite a bit tomorrow.
So that was my question is, we only have slated one more meeting after today.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 8 years, and this year seems a little
The
closer.
election year is always that way.
A
yeah.
little more clenched for this budget.
Well,
isn't it?
be calm in knowing that if we're not all comfortable next Tuesday, we pass an interim operating budget
Right.
and we deal with it at the January meeting.
I guess what I'm saying is, do you think we need another meeting? Okay.
We intend
In
to bring you a
December.
balanced budget next week.
Okay. Okay.
But it may be that we're balancing it in a half an hour or 45 minutes at the meeting. Like, hey, council, I need
Yeah.
another $100,000. Here's what we're suggesting, but
Willing
we
to
want
cut.
we want your input on this. This is what it would mean.
Yeah.
I expect we're balanced this time next week.
And we've done that before.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
we've, for sure, all of us that have, yeah.
So as
Okay.
council, you can pass an interim budget, and you can always amend this at any meeting, anytime through the year by resolution.
Yes.
So do not feel like, man, I'm not sure on that, but if I say okay, it's done. No, it's not. You can always amend your budget by resolution. And that can be pretty considerably large items where we have to manipulate things around.
Okay.
So that's where I want to leave that with you. Oh, I do want to mention one other thing, just for something to consider. I pulled the transfer to reserves from golf. And the reason is based on last year's revenues, we actually at one time had pretty considerable transfers to reserves. We brought it down to 125,000. But based on our numbers, we were still projected to have a $250,000 loss at the golf course next year. So I pulled $125,000 of reserves out of the budget. So if you look at golf, you'll see that's a blank line now, which takes us to roughly $125,000 loss. And then I've got some work to do on labor. It really all comes, our labor numbers have just gone through the roof over the last few years. Just to give you some idea that, you know, clubhouse wage in 2018 was $98,000 and it's 178 last year. Now, well, there was a decision made a few years ago to try and have like a full-time manager pro. We used to have seasonal everything, right? Everybody was seasonal, and then it was like, no, we want somebody year-round, and that cost. And then we went to year-round permanent groundskeeper, and that cost, and so we're gonna do some work on how we structure that. I'm relatively pleased. My arrangement, I won't get into any details about the names right here in public, but next year going forward, I have the grounds team leader, I have the player experience, we're calling them team leader, and I have the admin manager, and they're all seasonal.
Oh.
And so they're all under contract now. We have hourly rates negotiated, and we kind of have an idea of how many hours per year, and that's going to help us get labor down on both. We have the outside and inside the clubhouse and the grounds. We're going to bring that down, but I think we've got to really look at our level of service offering. And I know I'm looking away from Councillor Kenley when I say this because he's probably cringing the most, but bear with me, Councillor Kenley. You and I have talked about this before. There's no surprises here. As much as it's nice for members, staying open till the end of October and having $150 a day in revenue just makes no sense financially.
Right.
Trying to open at the 15th of March or the 1st of April or the 10th of April and bringing staff in, and then it snows for a week, and then there's nothing for them to do, so you send them home. And you know, we just have to look at all that a lot closer. We have a lot of our members that want country club type of service, but want, you know, very municipal fees. And I appreciate both sides of that. I absolutely do. And I think there's a happy medium. So we're going to be doing some work on that this year. I'd like to see that number close. I don't have, you know, lofty expectations that it has to make a ton of money every year. But a couple of years ago, we even covered the transfer to reserves. We had a great year. COVID was great. Not to wish that on society ever again. But we've had years where it can do it, but some years it's just a little bit softer.
Counselor Court.
Really, really short answer. Where are we at with the clubhouse?
There's not a short answer there, Counselor. I don't want to disappoint you by giving you a long answer. I went to Lethbridge and met with Southwest Construction last Thursday. There is some value engineering going on there with a few things, and we're actually going to re-tender that right after Christmas.
Yeah.
So administratively, we're going to be getting more in.
Open again.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting more involved with our local contractors in that tendering process. So we negotiated. I should be really actually. I got to be really careful with that one because I don't know how much they've told those that have already bid, but that's the intention right now. And we do have some, I will say, reasonably substantial changes to some aspects of the building to bring the cost down.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
So I should have those drawings actually the next couple of weeks, and I'll make sure we have some discussion about that. But we're going to retool on that bidding.
Counselor Smith.
Are we still getting a restaurant though?
So right now the square footage is still there for it, yes. And again, this goes against Counselor Court's short answer. One of the challenges, and we talked about this extensively on Thursday, is when we look at the building, the type of materials, we can bring the cost down a bit. The next thing we can do is shrink it. But what happens with the golf course is if we shrink that to the point that we can't accommodate events, we've just eliminated one of the things, a main component of the service we can offer.
Right.
So the current building has seating for 60 inside and 40 on the patio. So you can accommodate a fairly full tournament.
Yeah.
What does that look, Counselor Selk?
He perked right up.
60 people on the inside of
Yes.
that clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not sitting down, then they're all
No,
standing.
the new one.
No, the
Oh,
new one.
The new one. Sorry. No, the number of this clubhouse is 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say,
Needed.
Sorry, I did not word that well.
Counselor Smith, does that answer your question?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
All right.
So we're trying to be very careful to say, well, now our total capacity for seating is only 60, and now we can't host anything of substance for tournaments, and we have to. I don't want to do that because we eliminate.
There's no point.
I've got our new manager over the player services is really trying to get like some of the higher end junior tournaments and amateur tournaments to come into town. Those get to be a little more lucrative than and nothing against the community fundraising tournaments, but they're not particularly lucrative. You know, we give significant discounts for the rates and you know, it's a fundraiser. So if we can get some of those more amateur and semi-professional tournaments in, but we need the new clubhouse and we have to be able to feed them.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we trying to get a golf pro on staff?
Oh boy, you're asking. There's a lot going on there.
So can we put a pin in the golf course? I don't feel like that's something that we need answered.
Yeah, we'll do a
right
ton
now.
of golf course when I get those new drawings.
Yeah.
We'll go through that.
Let's go.
You bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that's what I wanted to go over for this budget.
Yeah.
Please scrutinize it. Hit me up with questions, and I intend to have this balanced a week from tonight.
Sounds good.
I
Awesome.
vote yes
Godspeed.
for that. Right? Okay, let's move right along. So for 5B, the Alberta Southwest request. So I will speak to this one. So I am the board member that's on Alberta Southwest. In the last meeting, they talked in regards to putting an increase on each of us that are in it, each of the towns. And I thought that we were not going to do that. And then Bev is the manager. She sent out an email to myself, well, to all of us that sit on that committee, including our CAOs, with requesting a 25% increase. And I'm just personally not in favor of that. I will be honest. Who else have we given a 25% increase to? I think that is a little bit. So how it works normally is, being a part of this, we pay per capita. So the town of Cardston, we have just under 4,000 people. So right now we're paying, roughly 3,000, pardon? Yes. So I think it's 3,800 or something, somewhere in there is what we're paying yearly. And so with the 25% increase, which is a little bit of money, that's an extra $1,000.33 and 25. No, $1,033.25. And I'm not a favor of it. I have the meeting tomorrow night, so I need council to, I need their a motion in support of this, or I need a motion of nope.
Can we
Councillor
talk
Court.
about this for just a bit? Can we talk in?
Yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm the South Grove rep now,
You are.
and I've said for a few years, I love Bev. She's a great manager. It's a good program.
Yep.
But I really believe we more in line with South Grove than we do with Alberta Southwest. They tend to be more Highway 3, Highway 2 up in that corner.
Yep.
And again, I've enjoyed being there for the last 8 years or whatever I've been on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to sit around table discussions, really good. But if it's gonna come push to shove, number one, I think Alberta Southwest should merge with them. And number two, I agree. I think we should just about be done.
Yeah.
That's just, don't tell Bev I said that.
I
Hope she's not
talked
watching
earlier.
council.
I talked earlier with administration whether we wanted to go down this gopher hole as to staying with them, and we decided just loosely that I'm personally not ready to make that commitment or non-commitment yet, but I'm certainly not in favor of a 25% increase. I think that's not reasonable, and I can't support that. And so I'm interested to go to the meeting tomorrow and to be heard and to see what the rest of them are. Councillor Salk, did you have your hand up?
Okay, actually, Mayor, I think so tomorrow is your plan to go and say, so far
Absolutely.
we're still wanting to be a member, but
Yep.
we are not in favor of this huge increase.
If that's the will of council, yes, absolutely.
And so what are our options?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
That's your game plan?
Dang straight. I
Okay.
mean, pending you all agree with me. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Just a little bit of a background on this, because I've been on that board for quite a while. A couple of years ago, the province pulled off funding the RETAs. They used to get 50 or 100, whatever they got every year.
Mhm.
And the province came down and said no. And so they've been scrambling to try and keep above ground.
Yeah.
They have a lot of ECDF stuff they offer and business licenses they offer, but we don't tend to use that in Cardston. So, yeah, I wouldn't be in favor of an increase.
So, Jeff, I guess, so my question is, do you want a motion in, how would you?
I was gonna say, Mayor, I'd be prepared to make a motion that the mayor represent the position of the town of Cardston, which is we are not in favor of this substantial increase to the membership.
Okay, is that your motion?
Sure.
Does
that sound okay, Jeff?
Yep. All in favor, or questions, sorry, any questions? Councillor Johnson?
Just one.
Yeah.
For somebody who hasn't been on council for a while.
Yes, for sure.
What one thing does this organization provide for us that is valuable?
Yeah, that was my kind of similar question. Yeah.
Well, that's a great question,
That is a good
councillors.
question.
So I can tell you now, to be fair, Councillor Court should honestly answer this question, but let me add my 2 cents before you, and then I'll let you.
Okay.
I am new to it, but I did put myself on this committee because I was interested. I needed more information on this because I was interested in seeing how this played out. So in the one meeting that I have been to, I really enjoyed sitting at a table with Fort McLeod, Pincher Creek, Crow's Nest Pass, the county, and all of the counties there. I
15
really
members.
enjoy the roundtable discussions that Councillor Court talked about. As far as, and again, I think Bev is fantastic who manages it. But that was my question, and I talked to Councillor Court about it as he laughed that I put myself on it, is, you know, what are you doing for me for this money? Great question, and I don't have that answer quite yet. Councillor Court.
A lot of it's basically is advertising within their magazine and getting the word out about the Crown of the Continent, which we're very much a part of. I don't.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna throw myself under the table there. I don't believe we're getting our bang for a buck for it.
Like, are they helping us bring businesses to Cardston?
They
Is that
can. They could do stuff like that, but we don't tend to use that aspect of it. The county has like business licenses. They'll sell you regional business licenses for whatever it is,
Yeah.
and the town gets a chunk of that. Well, the county's got about 25 or 30 guys doing that. We have 2. That's all we've ever had all the time I've been on there. We just don't use their services because we're kind of in a different.
and the fee that's increasing is our membership fee to be
Yeah.
with them? Okay.
We're just not in the same ballpark. They're quite focused on 3 and 2 in that area,
Yeah.
and it's designed for tourism.
Yeah.
But they're also delving into economic development as well. So
They are. So, Councillor Selk?
So I think, Mayor, sort of the heart of the motion is that you're going to go there with, yeah, we're not in favor of this. You're not going to say this to them, but you're going to sort of keep it in your mind. And we're also 1 foot out the door.
Oh, no, I'll probably say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
Any other questions?
Well, when I read
Go ahead.
through it, I was just really surprised at the amount. Like, we have to pay for all of that membership, and it was the same thing, wondering what do we get out of it?
she'll show you charts and $2,000 here for this and
Yeah.
helping our tourism board over here and hiring Jerem to do this and that. There's been times that it's matched, but do we still even need it?
Okay, all in favor?
I feel
Thank
like I'm
you.
throwing them
Great
under
discussion.
the train,
Okay,
but
let's go to the next one. This next one, I think it's funny to say excited about a budget coming in, but the library board has given us this budget, and I think it's fantastic. I went over it. I will let Councillor Court speak to this. I would just add, as you read in the backgrounder, previously council had requested when over the years, the library, we just kept getting a budget that was going higher and higher and higher. And last year, council requested that actually we don't want to give you that much and we'd like you to go $10,000 less. And they did. And on top of that, they've come in another $6,000 below that for this new budget. So my hat's off. Go ahead, Councillor Court.
I've only been to 1 meeting, but I was very impressed.
Yeah,
I think Donna was great, but Mary Lou's really good too.
absolutely.
Mary Lou's looking at ways of renting parts of that building out.
Mhm.
She's built a meeting room that was kind of dead space.
Yeah.
They're looking at developing the basement so they can actually do different things in there. Applying for grants, like you said, to try and figure out what else we can do to save money. So they're being very active.
Yeah.
Like I said, 1 meeting and I was quite impressed. We have a new new chair. She'll be good.
Yeah.
And you'll see the names that are going to come up that they would like on the board. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm optimistic.
I would say Mary Lou is very proactive in trying to rent the rental spaces down below, whether it's yoga, whether it's the
Yeah.
kids' music program with Lisa
Gymnastics.
Common, or not gymnastics. You're right. Anyway, I'm really impressed by this. So, any other questions in regards to this?
No.
All right. It's just a review. We don't need a motion to approve it. Councillor Court, if you can just pass along to them, we really appreciate.
I will do that.
Perfect. It is 6:34. Would you be willing to take a 15-minute break?
Sure.
Okay, Counselor Selk.
I'll move that we take a 15-minute break.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you.
Adjourn. We'll reconvene.
Thank you. All in favor? So we're going to go right into 6A, follow up from the delegations previously. So we're going to go with Brendan Curl with Cardston High School. Now, that one, I feel like rather than having a big discussion about it, I feel like that one should just be pushed in with the CFEP grant that we're looking at working with Western School Division and another party to apply for the football field and surrounding area. Because why would we talk more about it when it's all the same? So if you're okay,
Because the
I
stairs will just be part of the grant.
Agreed.
That will be just part of it.
all of
anyways,
it.
right?
That's
Yeah.
what we're
We want
looking
it.
at. And so we will have it part of the design. Go ahead.
Quick question, is he doing this for the school kids to go down there and use the field, or is it for the football team, or?
Yes.
Everything, yeah.
Yes to all.
Because there's other big plans down there, right? So.
Correct.
Okay.
So are you okay if we
Yeah.
just,
So administration will just
that's what I'm saying.
send them a letter saying this
Yep.
is what's going on.
Do you need a motion for that? Counselor Selk.
Make a resolution or a motion that we direct administration to write a letter to
Cardston High School.
Cardston High School regarding their presentation.
Questions? All in favor? Thank you. So we'll go to the next one. This one is Lenz Cooper.
Piper?
Sure.
Piper.
With Orsk. And Jeff, go ahead.
I don't think there's any follow-up needed on that.
No.
It was informational and
Yep.
so I didn't have any recommendation there.
Okay.
I
go
have
ahead.
my first meeting with them on this Thursday, so
Okay.
that'll be my.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So I don't know if what I'm looking for. What do you guys?
You're just listening.
for
You're going to
come
go
back.
listening.
Yeah.
Go listen and see what they're talking about, and then you'll bring it back to council.
If I might, Mayor, we
Go ahead.
talked last time, if you want to come, if you have a chance before that meeting just to pop in, I can go
Update
over a few
Okay.
things with you too. Just text me.
Okay.
or phone call.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan Dick with Orsk. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I in the RFP, I had a recommended resolution, but I need to correct something. What I said was a motion to direct administration to prepare the bylaw for an ad hoc committee consisting of administration and council members. You don't need a bylaw, it's just a resolution to form the ad hoc committee. So I just wanted to correct that. If you want, and I do recommend that we form a small ad hoc committee, probably 2 admin, a counselor who's on the MPC and Old Man River,
Yeah.
and work through the West Area Structure Plan. But it doesn't need to be by bylaw. I just wanted to correct that.
So, Councillor Johnson, would you be okay to be on that ad hoc, seeing as how you're on that committee?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Could you make that motion?
I will make a motion.
Go ahead.
that we form an ad hoc committee for the old man, or the Orsk.
Yep.
Area structure plan.
Perfect. Sounds good. Questions?
Not me.
All
I
in
don't have that
favor?
nice of
Oh, it's me.
ringtones.
Sorry. I have
All
a new
right,
phone.
moving right
It's
along,
everything.
we're going to go with 6B, Carriage House Theater request. So. Nice little- Okay, Carriage House Theater request. So on this one, it is more informational for now. We're going to just put a pin in that because we need more information to follow.
Do you want me
Did
to
you-
just?
go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just, a couple of things. You have another delegation coming next week related to this matter as well, so I'd like you to hear them out.
Yeah.
Before we go too far down the road. Shem did a lot of work on this with the province. We did get some legal advice back, which I don't want to share in open session, but the broad details is that there's very little risk for the town to manage the disposition of these assets. You do have, I would say, maybe competing parties looking for it, and we need. I thought that delegation was also potentially coming to this meeting, so then I had this on there. But if council's okay with it, if you could just
Yep.
sit on this, we will have another delegation next week, and then we can have a little better conversation about it.
That's
Sounds-
the incorporating like the community theater into. I mean, like
No.
that's that one.
Well, this is really looking at when community theater dissolved.
Yeah.
They have a tremendous amount of assets and items in this building.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
And
Yeah.
the question is,
taking
who
those
is the
over.
custodian
Yeah.
of
Okay.
them, and where should they go?
Yeah.
So I have some more information we'll talk about after your next delegation that's also wanting to speak to that.
Okay.
Okay, and then let's go right into 7A. Essentially, I mean, yeah, we'll just turn that over to you. Again, that was pretty much informational in regards to
Correct.
our
Just-
debt bylaws and a report.
Yeah, just as a bit of a routine, I like to, as part of budget, just go over what we have. And it's just really good practice for me to see what's still outstanding on the books.
Yeah.
So what this is all of the borrowing bylaws that are active. I just wanted to mention that there is a balance on the solar bylaws. So this building, the rink, and the field, those are the only 3 borrowing bylaws that there's any balance on. So we don't carry any balance. We're not paying any principal or interest on any other of these borrowing bylaws. Now, the wastewater outfall, I expect we will start doing that, and the clubhouse one, I expect will start doing that. But those were passed by previous council, but we have not incurred any debt on them at this point. And even on, so there's a working line of credit for the sewer plant in here as well. Where we have the ability to cash flow and pay the bills without accessing the line of credit, I just cash flow it, so I'm not paying interest on the line of credit. But yeah, please just if you have any questions about that. The only balances are on the solar related bylaws.
Perfect, thank you.
I have a,
Go ahead, Councillor Selk.
So one
And
of the borrowing,
Councillor Kenley after you.
excuse me, Jeff, one of the borrowing bylaws was for the wastewater outfall
Outfall.
line.
Yep.
Isn't that paid off as
Yep.
of this year?
Yeah, it's well, actually, we never even had enough of a balance on it. We haven't made payments on that for a while. The bylaw naturally dies in 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Okay.
It's done at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Councillor Kenley, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, what I should know this answer. How much longer do we have on that solar field, or like what's that at?
The buildings were, hold on, I can tell you quite quickly. The buildings were 15 years, starting in 2017. So we're 8 years into those, so we're a little better than halfway through the 2 buildings. And then the farm was, I believe, 17 years. No, it's also 15 years, starting in 2019. So we're 6 years into that, so 9 years left.
And those are paying for themselves ish.
This year, I'm a little more nervous about that, but they have historically, yes.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, questions? Seeing none, going to correspondence. Festival of Lights Committee, a letter of thanks. They were fantastic, all their hard work. But I will also add that the town employees also did a pile of work. So a special thank you to them on all the lights that they put up all over everything. We also have the letter from Alberta municipalities. They're seeking input on this. Any thoughts on this letter, Council? Councillor Selk?
I think there are some merit to what they've provided. I mean, some of those explanations that they give with respect to how does the town pay for their operations, and the fact that municipal taxes are like 1.4% and federal taxes are like 36% and such. I don't know, Jeff, maybe a line or two like that on the church, on the town's website that would explain some of those things to ratepayers so that they know that these are some of the things that we're operating with. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor. We do see a lot of this start to gather when we send out tax notices. You know, it's usually an important time. One of the battles that, especially for you new councillors, one of the battles that municipalities are having with the province right now is they're imposing tremendous costs on us, like for policing, for example, and education requisition. And municipalities are saying, we want to list that on the taxes as provincial property tax.
Yeah.
And call it what it is. And they're actually saying you cannot.
So we're not getting blamed for
Yeah,
that.
so
Okay.
we're getting blamed for it.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's not a requisition, it's an invoice. And so you can't list it specifically on your tax notices. And municipalities are saying, come on, that's just semantics.
Yeah.
You know, it's mandatory. We can't not pay it. You won't give us our grants if we don't pay it. And we'd prefer to have a line that was provincial property tax and have policing and have school and have all that stuff in there. So this is part of that battle where they're saying, well, let's try and phrase it differently and educate the public so they know when they see what we can call it, what it is. So I do think there's some merit in looking at our messaging around taxation for sure. And we'll make a point of seeing what we can do there.
Yeah.
Well, and in years past, I feel like we've done that when we've sent out the tax.
Yeah.
Because when it's skyrocketed, we didn't want that on us being seen as council that it was going up 14% or whatever it was. And so on the tax,
Yeah,
we
we've
did
done
put a
some,
little
some nifty
information
pie
packet.
charts.
Yeah, we
historically.
did.
And again, for the new council, just to give some perspective, I know time flies and I know I lose track of it, but I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we were asked to start paying a portion of policing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be going towards rural policing initiatives because they were having tremendous problems in rural areas with theft, and they were going to put some special forces on it. And there was an agreement at the time begrudgingly to do that. And I believe our first time we had to pay it was like, I don't know, 60,000, something like that was what we had to pay. In your budget right now, the number is probably somewhere around 240,000.
Yep.
And just to give an idea, that's almost, rough numbers here, it's like 7 to 8% of total taxation is now going to policing, where we didn't have that just a few years ago at all.
Well, and it didn't make us any better
No,
in
nothing's
Cardston.
And we received no resources
Right.
additionally for
Right.
that money.
We're still getting the
For
same.
rural policing.
Yeah, and so when we're trying to manage budgets and we're saying, well, there's now 8% of total taxation going to something we didn't have a few years ago.
Right.
And we don't get to call it a requisition. We're just supposed to absorb it. And those have been challenging things, and I haven't been super appreciative of how the province has managed that, but it is what it is.
Okay, Councillor Selk?
I think in addition to that, we don't get a lot of say into what the RCMP are doing. In fact, we get nothing.
There's no mandatory governance model for communities under 6,000.
Right.
We do have a voluntary one, and we need to meet soon. Actually, we need to get that going. And
Yes.
Bob's coming to a week from today. Bob's coming to your next. Sergeant Wright is coming to the next meeting,
Yeah.
and we'll kind of kickstart that and get that going. So he wants to come talk about community priorities and things. So he's great. He's really good to deal with. That Councillor Court, you've been on that board for a while. I find it very effective.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Yeah, so we'll get that kick-started and going, but to your point, there is no mandatory governance model for that.
Okay, because I do, like if we're having a police committee meeting, I do have a number of questions that I would like to ask Sergeant Wright
Absolutely.
about our town.
Sure. Yeah, we'll get that going soon, but he is coming to present to you next week.
Okay, sounds good. That ends this part of our council meeting. Can I have a motion to go in closed session, please? Councillor Court.
I'll be back.
Yep, Councillor Court. All in favor?
I'll be right back.
Yep. library or anything. So can I have a motion to,
Adjourn?
thank you, Counselor Johnson. All in favor? Notice how I don't ask for questions on that. Questions? No. Too bad.